There can't be fraud when you've told institutions to do their own work. This case is a fraud, and it's a scam. Thank you very much.
Former President Donald Trump there wrapping up his second day in court yesterday as his civil fraud trial in New York City continues. He'll be back in the courtroom this morning again right around 10 a.m. Eastern time. And joining us now for more in studio is Trump legal spokeswoman Alina Habba. Alina, great to have you back in studio. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Rob.
Been a busy few days. I want to again, I know you've addressed this. It's 6312. Apparently there was a box that you were supposed to check, and everyone's blaming you for this, to request a jury trial. You've addressed this. You said there was no box. My question is really, was there maybe a strategy for appellate reasons to not have a jury in a case like this?
Aha, there's a good idea. There's a good idea. So here's the problem, world. I'm a lawyer. Lawyers are restricted by their ethics and privilege, and I'm not going to get into strategy, and I'm not going to get into any of that. I'm happy to take the blame to the world of the box. There is no box. I'm sorry. This is the one case we don't have boxes. But no, there was no box to check.
Okay.
6312 is actually a consumer fraud claim and not supposed to be used this way. They're using it against the president because it is up to the judge if he wants to have a bench trial. He did want to have a bench trial. Obviously, we thought about it. Obviously, we know about challenging it. We've gone through it. We did challenge the court we were in. I'm sorry, guys. Look at the docket. We challenged a lot of things. But that's about as much as I can ethically say about it. So I'm just going to take the beating in the news and be quiet.
Maybe there was a strategy there if this goes to appeal or something like that. A gag order yesterday was imposed by this judge on the former president, on the clerk, Allison Greenfield. It's a gag order, so I know you can't say too much. What can you tell us about this? Does it limit in any way what the president can say or do? Because he had a post on Truth Social, then he had to take that post down yesterday.
That's right. That's what happened. I cannot speak about, obviously, the staff per the gag order. That's what it says. No one can, so I'm going to leave it at that.
How much do you expect Donald Trump to be in court? Today will be 3 days in a row.
I think he's going to be in and out as he sees fit, and frankly, as he can. Look, he's being taken off the campaign trail to fight for his family's business, his business that he built, and it's very important to him.
Yeah.
You know, his entire life was not presidency. The Trump Organization was Donald Trump. So this is important to him. He's a human being, and I think it sends a good message to New Yorkers and to the world that at the end of the day, he's a human being. He's an American. He has a business. He's trying to make money. He wants that business to thrive, and the business has thrived. He's worth billions more than what's on his statement of financial condition. And we have an AG who's ignoring the streets of New York and instead is doing this, in my opinion, for political gain.
An AG, by the way, who campaigned in 2018 on getting Donald Trump, and we've got the campaign video to prove it.
Also failed on being governor, let's not forget that.
When does Trump testify?
He's slated to testify, I would say, probably around the end of the month.
And what about his two sons, his oldest sons?
Same time.
Eric and Don Jr., you expect them to take the stand as well?
Of course they will. They have nothing to hide.
There wasn't an injured party in this case. Everybody made money. The loans were paid back ultimately. We have statute of limitations for a reason. I'm not an attorney, but this judge is allowing things that have expired dating back to as long ago as 2011. Legally, what's the strategy there?
Again, we have appellate courts. I'm not going to go into our privileged conversations, but I can tell you that if you look at the decision from June, the appellate division was pretty clear on statute of limitations, what those are, tolling agreements, what does work, what doesn't work. And it's our position that that's being disregarded at this point. So we just keep objecting.
If Donald Trump's convicted here, the implications stretch beyond the former president. What does this mean for businesses?
Well, it's not a conviction. It's a civil liability case.
Right. Okay.
The judge, frankly, said we already are liable the minute before we walked in. He did it without looking at experts, without listening to witnesses. He granted that on summary judgment. Imagine that. So people keep talking also about these boxes and the jury. We already were found liable for all of the things that they wanted effectively, except multiple counts of the same, before we walked into court. So that's the problem we have. Anybody who's actually a legal analyst with intellect will understand a summary judgment motion is prior to trial. We weren't even given a trial, let alone a bench trial. What does it mean? We don't know. We're waiting to find out because when we asked the judge last week prior to the trial starting to clarify, he couldn't articulate it from the bench.
Okay. Just final point. Mar-a-Lago was valued at $18 million. It seems to me in Palm Beach this property might be be worth more than that. It's also the home of a former president and maybe a future president. If you just look at the valuations of the Kennedy compound in Hyannis, which is not a Mar-a-Lago, or the Bush compound in Kennebunkport, Maine, which again is not the size or square footage of a place like Mar-a-Lago, which is also a private club. Why is so much being made out of that number and that valuation right there?
Because he's using a tax-assessed value for fair market value. So meaning in plain English, what you think you would submit for your tax assessment to get your tax assessment number to a certain value, he's saying is what you should sell your home for. That's the thinking under that. Now, we also had an article that came out the first day of trial. The Palm Beach tax assessment authorities came out and said, they're right. That's a tax assessed value. We did not say 18 million was the fair market value. They're right. And that speaks volumes. People are paying attention. And the number was so absurd and egregious that anybody that understands any real estate and has a home will know that that's just ridiculous. Mar-a-Lago is worth probably 1.52 billion. I mean, it's a special, it's a Mona Lisa property.
Something like that.
You can't.
Ocean on both sides, but it's a very big property. And Palm Beach property value down there is it's expensive, to
and
say the
his
least.
brand. I mean, we're not even talking about that. That's not even included. It's Trump. The Trump name is what got him to presidency. It's very important.
Yeah. Alina Habba, we appreciate you being with us. So good to see you.
Good
Keep
to
us
see
posted.
you.
We'll see you back in court again a little bit later
Yes,
this
in a
morning.
couple hours.
Busy few days. Thank you.